Okay, so this is the outside of Crucible, my boat, and she's 65 foot long and just under 7 foot wide. As you can see, it's kind of a interesting sort of matte black with this sort of oxblood colour. Initially when she came, she was this disgusting baby blue colour, which I think was some sort of revenge from the boat makers on me, but I painted it pretty quick. So yeah, and then I've got these solar panels on the top, flexible ones, so they don't stick up as much. Tunnel light, horn, and that's basically the aerial for my internet there. So if I walk along the gunnel, look at that. So these are just some extra scaffolding poles that I put in when the river was getting really up, and it was like basically only about that far away from coming over the bank. And I was worried that my boat was going to float over, so I chucked these in, which is pretty good. Cool. And these are the hatches. We're going to go inside in a minute, and you'll be able to see all this from the inside, and it all looks very different from the inside. But this though, I mean, look at this. Amazing field that I live in. Usually, sometimes, surrounded by cows, but you know. Yeah, these are the solar panels. So yeah, constantly generating electricity. Even on a day like today, believe it or not, they'll still be generating electricity. So they're pretty efficient. So that's the bow of the boat, and this is the stern of the boat. This is where I chop all my wood and stuff. I'll chop some later. That's a big old branch I found. That's good. This is the stern of the boat. And I get another scaffolding pole to stop her going over if the river gets up too much. But it wasn't too bad actually. Look at that, you dirty, dirty thing. Might need to clean that. Don't look at that. I don't look at that. Oh, we've got a swan. Hello, mate. You all right? I have no food for you. Careful, they're pretty evil. They will try and bite you, aren't you? So yeah, this is the stern of the boat. As you can see, like over here is my canoe, which might go out in later. Gonna go inside now, and I'll show you around. There's a lot more interesting stuff inside, trust me. Okay, so I guess I better do the tour of the inside of the boat now. So the first thing you notice when you come in is you've got all these little things, and this thing is actually quite important. It's my batteries, and so I can check here. Got 98% battery, got loads of battery left. And this little thing up here, this controls my central heating if I wanted to turn the radiators on and things like that. In there is the electrical cupboard. Now I know the more geeky among you would probably really like to look in there, but it's not that interesting, trust me. Got my fridge, which is a 12-volt fridge, so not running off mains, electricity. Just some general shelving and stuff like that. I mean, we are technically in the galley area now of my boat, and this is my nice sink. I'm quite proud of my sink, my tap. And just some cupboards. All these I built from scratch, basically, and it's got all my food and stuff in it. So yeah, then obviously we kind of go through the galley into the more cooking living room area. Yeah, this is some little things here are worth probably pointing out. And these little things I used to dry stuff on. These little almost like racks that I made, like because it gets quite warm here because of the stove, and it's good at drying stuff. This is the living room area. Very comfy. Nice sofa. It's also a bed as well, so that's pretty good. Here I've got my stove, which is kind of like what I like to call the heart of the boat. Essie. I mean, it's made by Essie, but I call her Essie as well because it sounds like a good name for her. And at the moment, oh look, there's a kettle boiling right now. Look at that, how convenient. Have a cup of tea at some point. So yeah, this is kind of like a range type stove, and kind of as you can see with the lid there. It's kind of familiar to people that are used to Rangers. And it's only wood, doesn't take coal at all, so it means that I get through a fair bit of wood on it, but as long as I keep stocked up, everything's fine. And something that's a little bit different from stoves that usually are on narrowboats is, as well as it being more like a range so that you can use it on the top and it has a graduated heat on the top, it also has an oven underneath. Now at the moment I actually, rather than cooking anything in the oven, I'm actually drying out wood right now in the oven because it's actually really good for drying out wood. But yeah, that's like one of my favourite things about the boat, and probably one of the most expensive things about the boat as well, I should add. So yeah, cool, just the general aesthetic that some of you probably are used to by now of the boat, which is the sort of oldie worldy, haunted, shippy, Pirates of the Caribbean, Lord of the Ringsy. A lot of things going on there. So yeah, this is where I chill out when people come out to hang over, and they also can sleep on that if they want because it folds out into a double bed. This is my desk. This is where I sit to work. This is where I make a lot of my YouTube videos, sitting here and do a lot of piece to camera stuff here. And also my desk is kind of like an extension of my mind really, hence why it's slightly cluttered. But yeah, this is where I like to sit. And you can see that he's starting to bring in some little bits of colour here onto the boat, and using the classic trick of making things look bigger by putting mirrors everywhere. Everybody does it, right? Yeah, another little cupboard. Interesting story about this cupboard actually. This my granddad actually built this cupboard like in the 50s and sort of gifted it to me, and then I sort of made it fit in with the rest of it, stained it in, put it to the wall and just painted it a bit orange. But yeah, this is a quite old cupboard. Thanks, Grandad. Then we come into the bathroom area. A lot of people tend to notice the sink, the teak sink, they quite like that. And obviously the shower as well, which is quite lovely, brass shower. First time I'd ever tiled anything as well. I was quite proud of myself. Did a lot of research about that. And what everybody I know is interested in, obviously, the separating toilet. So I have a separating toilet, and sometimes called a composting toilet, but no actual composting technically goes on there, really. It just separates stuff. And that's where I'm going to leave that. Cool, and then we come through. Another mirror, again, trying to make it look bigger, trying to convince myself. This area is kind of what I like to call the chill room, or the vinyl room, as it were. And it's quite nice, especially in summer. I can open up these, get a lot of fresh air in here. Just sit down, chill out, maybe have a beer or something with some mates and listen to some music, and it's quite a nice little room separate from everything else. Or maybe just come in here to read or something. Oh, the sun's coming out. Yes! Yes! The sun's coming out. And then the final room, the bedroom. This is the bedroom. Tend to spend quite a bit of time in the bedroom in the winter because it can be quite cozy in here. But it's actually interesting because it's the furthest place away from the stove, and so it actually heats up the slowest. But then I don't always want my bedroom to be really warm because you know, end up getting too hot in the end. Yeah, and then that's the end of the boat. That's where I started the tour.